Start as always by bringing our attention in, our experience including the physical body, sense perceptions, muscles, that kind of thing. Sometimes we can feel a pulse somewhere in our body. We might feel digestive activity. And pay attention to your whole body, the front, including your face and forehead, the rise and fall of the breath in your chest and stomach, your kneecaps, tips of your toes, and the sides, the hinges of your jaw, the side of the neck down into the shoulders and the arms and hands, fingers, fingertips. And the side of the rib cage, where if you take a deep breath you can feel there's a bit of opening at the lower ribs on the sides. And then let that soften. Continue on through your hips, the outsides of your legs, your ankles, and the back of the body from the top of your head down through the back of the neck. Let go of any tightness through the back of the neck and the shoulders. All those large muscles of the back, let them settle and be supported by your environment. Noticing how we can't feel contact with the lower back, and then we can feel it again through the hips and buttocks, the back of the thighs, back of the calves, the heels. And we can feel the space all around our body as well. There's space a few inches in front of our face, a few inches in front of our stomach and chest, a few inches above our toes. And there's space 6 or 8 inches out, a few feet out into the next room. The sides as well. At some point we stop feeling it energetically as part of us, and then it becomes more of just the open space in the room. Other objects might fill some of that space, like chairs or walls. We can notice the back of us as well. The space immediately underneath our body might have furniture in it. There might be parts of that space that has air, empty space. If we're lying down, then we'll come downwards into the earth eventually. There might be several layers of rooms and ceilings and floors. If we were lying on the ground, we could feel that directly. And above our head and below the soles of our feet, we bring our attention into the space that our body is occupying and notice what's here. And when we do that, we have sensory perceptions, and we also have a visual. Most people would have a sense, if we turn our attention to it, of some kind of a shape or maybe a visual image. More like a picture. Some it's more like light and dark. And then focus particularly on energy. And notice that as you were going through your physical body, you were also noticing your energy. Part of that is the breath, and part of that is the energy that's not really physical in nature. It might be located in a certain part of the body, it might move with the breath, but it's more subtle than the physical body. You notice your breathing pattern. When we're deeply relaxed and calm, our breath is continuous and smooth. When we get anxious or caught up in something, we'll often hold our breath, or the breath will get jerky. See if you can notice whatever your breathing pattern is without making yourself wrong. Ideally, our breath is about the same length on the inhale as the exhale. And when we focus on our breath, often we can find that continuity. We keep our attention right at the end of the exhalation and let ourselves smoothly move into the inhale, bringing in the in-breath. As soon as we're finished taking in the nourishment of the in-breath, we're allowing that to release into the out-breath. Aligning ourselves energetically with that physical process of oxygen and release, of cells getting nourished and then releasing the byproducts. And when we breathe continuously like that, it helps to signal our body that we feel safe enough to release after the inhale. We know we're going to have another breath. We don't have to hold on to this one. And as we're finished exhaling, we know that it's safe to inhale. And then we release into the exhale and focus for a moment on that continuity of your breath. Not using any muscles, not tightening the belly to make the inhale happen or the exhale happen. Simply allowing yourself to relax and focus on your breath. Keep some attention on your body as well, head to toes. Notice if there's any tightness that you could soften. Any holding that you could release. And then let's allow the body and the breath to continue what they're doing and pause here for a moment to see how we feel about this experience. What's our response to what's happening right now in our experience? It will usually range between I completely hate what's going on right now and I'm absolutely fine with what's happening right now. And there's so many layers of subtle judging and wanting things to be different, or if it's pleasant, wanting it to continue. The mind jumps in with all kinds of associations. So as you're being mindful of the relaxation through the body and the smooth continuity of the breath, take a moment to observe your reaction, your response to what you're finding right now in your own experience. And notice if you can bring in your associations and responses in a way that doesn't make that wrong. We all respond to our experience, just how it works. And notice what it is that is coming up around what might need to change for you to feel happier about your experience. I'd like it a lot more if this was happening, or if this wasn't happening. And without even thinking about it, stop and letting yourself notice what comes up, what pops into mind when you think about that. And if there's something that it feels like it would really be better if this wasn't happening, or if this was happening instead, pay attention to that. Really focus in on that with some kindness, compassion. See if you can hold that in a way that doesn't make you wrong. That makes it okay for us to have preferences. That when we don't get our preferences met, that we're still okay. And perhaps there might even be a feeling of gratitude for our body, our breath and energy, our mind, our being. Just as it is that we showed up and we're doing this practice and we're extending that attention to ourselves, we're noticing, we're turning towards. We're getting to know ourselves in a much deeper way than we would have if we hadn't been doing this type of looking. See if we can appreciate that about ourselves. That courage and willingness. And the mind might be jumping in with evidence that we're not as courageous as we might like to think, or that we could really do this better. And if that's the case, let that be part of the experience too. Many of us have some kind of a concept or image in our head of what it would be like if we were perfect. And we hold ourselves to that and judge ourselves for that when we don't measure up. Notice if we can allow even that. Without making ourselves wrong or bad. And then release the active part of the practice. Notice your body, your breath, your thoughts, your responses to the experience and the practice. Notice that you've been observing and witnessing your experience. Notice the space all around your body, the space inside your body. And that space where all of this arises and is being seen. For a moment, rest there. And gradually bring in more of the sensory perceptions again, the sound of my voice, the sounds in your room. If you open your eyes, you'll notice colors and shapes, associations with what you're seeing. And before we finish the practice, set your intention for the day. It might be as simple as checking back in with this space, this acceptance or not of experience, this kindness, gratitude. And then when you're ready, come out of the practice.